What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. $30 invocation. As if this isn't the first printing, finally not short printed. Oh, Verte Anaconda, good to see you at $45. About the price of the dual overload version after its price crash. Oh, access code Talker at $60. What a deal, you were just $160. TCGPlayer presale prices being horrendous. Weird, right? But I do have people freaking out right now over access code Talker. It was $54 yesterday. And John, it sold out on Tier 0 pre-sales at 40. What's happening? The boss. Well, look, there's a lot of demand for this one card, but cyclically, let's go over it in case you're new here. What does it say on the screen all over in bright pink? It says pre-sale. Now let's look at the number of listers on all of these, barely undercutting each other. 2 listings, 2 listings, 2. Oh, a whopping 3 listings on access code Talker. And I will agree, when I saw the $54 price point, I thought, okay, it'll be 52, then 50 before soon, and people will stop getting ripped off as much versus when the set drops. And this card is an interesting conversation to be had as that boss monster one of from the extra deck, but just recently, what happened here? $118 copies of Crossout Designator were selling like hotcakes. A pre-sale price and its actual sales data does not always dictate where it's going to go versus launch versus release. With this very few amount of listers being platformed to tens of thousands of buyers interested in these cards, some of them are going to take the leap into Stupidsville and be parted with their money very soon. They don't have access to these videos, or they're itching, and they might feel justified later if access code Talker, which seems to be half printed in the EU, does end up going long-term up. But realistically, there's going to be a better price point to buy into. Like, oh, right now I hit up Tier 0 once again and was like, can you do something about this? This is really just insane. Do you have any more quantities to sell? And they went, yeah, we can actually, allocate some more boxes for openings if you really think people will want them. And with code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly, look at that, a third of the price off with a further discount around 40, 20, blaze it over here on access code Talker. And then you have Verte Anaconda. I talked to them about prices too. They were like, yeah, I think we put Verte a little too high at first, and they knocked it back down to 22, even though they were selling some copies of it. Pot of Extravagance did have to come up in price just a little bit. They were selling out of those like hotcakes, so to keep any in stock, they upped it to 16 versus the, what is it over here? Oh yeah, almost $30 like it is right now on the market for every other version. You see, when it comes to pre-sales, you wait for competition. You wait for the people who will put the customer before their wallet, and they actually look out for their name and reputation and fulfilling this time and time again. I'm talking straight to you, TCGPlayer, on this issue. If you're listening, you need to find a better balance than letting your consumers constantly get ripped off like this. Even if it's on them to stay informed, you should have a better amount of competition than this weak sauce that gets shown up every single time presale is over on your screens. This just isn't right. Now, I do get the actual issue, and people have asked me what it is on TCGPlayer presales, and the issue comes down to, beforehand, people would not commit to their, we didn't have enough, or this was short printed, we couldn't fulfill, and you had a lot of unhappy, complaining customers. And when that happens as a platform, you try to take care of the issue, but this just ain't it. You gotta find a better balance, or Tier 0 and all these other companies are going to continue pounding these pre-sales into the ground. And you may look at your sales rate and say, great, but when customers get burned time and time again, they're going to stop shopping there eventually and wise up to that. Now, talking about rising prices over in Synchro Storm, what's happening with the main mommy of the set? She is almost 140 solid with very, very few listings under that. We have one seller at 131 before it's 137, etc. This Synchro card out of Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm is being highly used in the metagame, and it's not just her that's going up for synchros as we're about to cover, but I do want to reiterate, because I've seen some different takes out there on her, I do think she could go down a little in price from here, but just not much, because with Synchro Storm, you're pulling a max usually of 3 per case unless you get super lucky with the clumping, and the average is 3, like in the US, and round 2 in the EU with her, and it's just not worth opening even a case of this. You open 36 packs, oh, didn't see one. Weird. So, like, the product, even if it starts going up and out of the market to try to fill a quantity gap versus its pricing, it's not going to bring enough of her to really do damage to this price point which is why I think she's really permanently triple digit or above. But with most legendary duelist cards, and this is more of a duelist pack than legendary duelist, if you notice, I've said this multiple times, but I'll reiterate it, the marketing went away from 5 duelists back to 3, and when we replaced that with a ghost rare here in the TCG, they completely dropped it over in the OCG in terms of legendary. But this card it lives up to the name, very legendary, and it kind of deserves its price point. Yazi, out of OTS Pack 17, just is not a mass enough reprint to bring a true easy access common to people. Also, I've heard a lot of stories about OTS Pack 17, so let me know, is your locals super short on this? Because we know there's scummy locals who will just hide it behind the counter and sell it out on eBay through a third-party vendor or those kind of things. But when it comes down to this, I've heard a lot of stories about their stores saying, we didn't get enough of this got replaced with X OTS pack, and we have to give these out as prizing, and it does seem versus the singles to actually live up to that. So let me know if your remote duels or your OTSs that are super reliable do have this in stock, or what stories you're getting from your locals on OTS Pack 17. But that aside, all the holofoil version of Yazis are getting bought out and up in market price, and there is something to that, right? When you're already spending so much on Sword Soul and decks like that, you want to finish it out nicely and have the holo version versus the not so easy access common that you would already be spending 4 to 5 on. Kind of makes a little sense, weird enough, but if you're on a budget, you barely scraped by to finish Sword Soul, or you're still missing pieces, go ahead and get yourself that common. Yazi, though, versus Baxia, like, Baxia's version is way more easy access out of King's Copium, but the holos also have that same gap. Look at this, 20 cents versus 12 bucks versus 18 for the Mega Pack. The original, I would think, would be better, but it's easier to make Mega Pack versions disappear from a market, and then the almighty Ultimate Rare, still way up there in price. And then, when we look at Burst, Mo Yi is sticking above $60, as a lot of people are on this deck, and Destiny Hero Destroy Phoenix is staying at 90. I would say really watch this set, as we might see more bonus bucks back or deals on TCGPlayer as we approach Black Friday. Like, they've already put themselves back in a corner. They did their best promotion ever, so what are they gonna do for Black Friday? We'll wait and see, because plenty of sites offer a ton of competition that day, but really good to see the rest of the set become a bit cheaper overall, and we'll continue to watch the cards and singles from there. Speaking of Sword Soul still, Token Collector is a $2 common. I didn't know this stuck this price, and it is seeing a lot of play on Dueling Book right now. It's just something to be aware of. The Ultra Rares are like $8, $9 still, and the commons are solid value and actually selling. So if you have this, you might have some money you didn't know you had, or it might be time to go bulk diving and make yourself some extra money. The word of the day is OCG support make prices go brrrr, and it's Mayakashi with an insane floodgate of a trap. If you haven't already read it, it basically stops people from special summoning from the hand, deck, or extra deck by distributing a Mayakashi or Shiranui, Link, or Synchro, I believe. Something like that. So, the searcher for any Mayakashi card is over here, Return, and it's gone way up in price overnight, as it can directly search that floodgate-like trap that debarriers everybody from special summoning anything except from the graveyard. That's fair, right? And also other Mayakashi cards that have had buyouts before, like Hajun and Yuki Onna, they're also low on quantities or up in price. Also on the Shiranui side, we do see some people getting certain versions of those cards, but Shiranui Smith is most notable as also a card that can search that. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard as Synchro material, you can add any Shiranui card from your deck to your hand except for Smith. So he's able to also search out that floodgate when you make a Synchro, and that would also leave a Synchro on the board to tribute for that card. Solemn Strikes are up for like every single version and super low on quantities. I just want to note, this is probably in Grand Creators. It was in the OCG version. I am so hopium, whatever, for this to be the first deck building set with collector rares that is a success. And for that to happen, I do think Solemn Strike needs to be in there as a collector rare, but also an easy access rare or something like that. So if you are on this right now, do be aware there could be a reprint on the horizon, but if you're playing current Yu-Gi-Oh, you're paying a premium for these versions, and I would sink it in probably like a first set original secret, or not an ultimate rare at that price, but just get a nicer version like a secret rare if you really gotta buy it now to protect the value that you're putting in, because I think the super/commons and ultras, they'll bottom out a little more. Cosmic Cyclone seeing a lot of talk right now as a card that can stop Scythe from really popping off on you and locking you out of the extra deck. The ultimate rare is insanely low on quantities and barely hanging on to the price that it was at before it shoots up a lot, and I think that I would be going for the secret rare to protect any value, and also just to have a nice version. You don't have to spend that extra $90, right? But when it comes to all these copies, like, you even have a speed duel secret rare now between the mega pack and the original, so you have 3 different secret rares to choose from at decent prices if you want to hollow out your deck, or that all-important dual Devastator version floating around $1 to $2. And finally, wrapping back around to the 10 of Ancient Battles, the cases are really down in price, and I'm getting so many questions like, John, do I Diamond Hands the other Megatins? They all went up. What do I do? You have to look at opportunity cost when you go in on things like that. We knew waves were coming, meaning more copies of 10s were coming, meaning the price would naturally go down as competition went up on them. I still think these will sell out over time with the amazing Eternity Code and Rise of the Duelist singles, but these can also see reprints at some point during the next year, when a Konami looked like a hero if Triple Tactics talent was in Ghost from the Trash 2 or something like that. So when it comes to these, you have to decide your opportunity cost versus, like, and that means what you can put your money into versus these, versus how long you will be tied up into these. And I think that's fine depending on your situation. I'm not a financial advisor for these reasons. I don't know your personal bankroll. I don't know your ability to sit on product and not rip it open, because I know I'm having a hard time with King's Copium. The singles are actually going up a lot, but it's just not worth opening. But even me, Market Man, I have a problem not opening sealed product that sits there. So when it comes to stuff like this, you have to decide what it's worth to you to try to see that estimated value go up over time, and that takes time. We're not even towards the start of waiting for that increase. So you're not even looking at having held on to this for a couple months and you're freaking out. I get the price was up $100 not too long ago, but you've got to be able to stomach these waves, and investing is always emotional no matter what you say. Okay, I'll sell it when it doubles up. Oh, that doubled up faster than I expected. Well, I think I'm going to ride this out for a little, right? People put themselves in these situations, and the changing data comes down to feelings at certain times rather than convictions. So you have to decide what's best for you in your own personal interest with stuff like that. That being said, I do think Diamond Hands is probably a pretty good approach towards this, as next year might blow some of them out of the water, but that's a whole year away, and there's a lot of really awesome sets on the way between that. That being said, thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversations and a mix of theory market talk, along with all the changes that are actually happening around the metagame, as well as the prices that are going crazy. And let me know what you think about maximum gold pre-sales. Where do you see some of these prices landing also? Thanks for watching, everybody.